know? We've got all this time, so stop wasting mine. We've got all this time. How am I supposed to know? To know.
right. We are live
What's up, man?
and hopefully functioning. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. What a
How's
day.
everybody out there
What's
in the
up,
live
everyone?
audience? Lovely day for episode 16 of Irresponsibly Long. Chat is very bullish today.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Got a bullish chat. Everyone's feeling good. I'm starting to get the FOMO kicking in. We just had the great Carne Asada Chris in here, just telling me about all the coins. He texted me, 3 weeks ago that are up 300% now.
God. He's turning into a prolific options trader too. I kind of like unleashed the beast in that one, and I have a strategy that he actually is employing that I want to talk about later.
Well, I'm sure it's 100% risk-free, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like everything we do on this show, and not at all redacted. Oh man, I saw somebody in the chat was like shilling Carvana, and I was like, oh, I bought that and sold it, and I just noticed it's up like 20%.
Oh wow!
After hour.
Damn.
I bought it. It pumped like 12% on me. I was like, why am I buying all these stocks? I need to just buy like crypto. I can't. I'd be like losing focus. So I sold it, and then turbo pump.
Well, 20% in
What a
crypto
dumb,
land is
what a
not
dumb,
is nothing.
What a dumb company. Anyway, I was late for the show today because,
Yeah, what happened, man?
oh my god, dude. So I'm at home. I'm prepping for the show as I do.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. Some preparation that goes into
It
this.
shines through, man. It
I
shines
know.
through.
I know. I hope so. But like while I'm prepping for the show, I'm trading.
Oh.
Obviously.
Naturally.
So, I'm pulling up the blur chart, and I'm like, looking at all the unfilled limit orders I have. I like to sometimes like ladder a bunch of bids in these kind of like weekly zones, just in case like price goes there, and then sometimes price it runs, and then I like to move it up to a new zone. That's kind of
Okay.
like my thing, right? So I had all these like laddered. I had like 20 laddered bids in this zone.
Damn.
And Bybit has this nice like cancel all orders button. So I went to click it to cancel all those orders and then put in some new blur orders. And I was not paying attention, right? And it like popped up some little warning thing, and I just didn't read it. And then I clicked OK, and then like I look at all of my positions start just going to zero, and I'm like, oh no.
What happened? You like market
I
sold your bag?
So I switched off the limit orders screen onto the position screen. I wasn't paying attention, and then right in the same exact place the cancel orders is like the emergency like close all positions button.
Oh shit.
I was in 17 different trades.
Wait, so this closed not even just blur, everything.
It market sold my entire account.
Oh my god.
So I'm just sitting there. I click the button, and I'm like, I realize what happened. I'm like, no, and I'm just like watching everything just tick down to zero, and I'm just like, oh
Damn.
god. And like some of those were sizable positions that I probably just market sold them into
Oh.
no freaking bids, and
Oh my god.
like the fees. Oh my god.
Yeah, spreads, fees, taxes.
Slippage.
There's so much going on with that.
Oh, so many bad things happened. And then I was like, some of these things, like I have to get back in these, so I'm trying to figure out how to get back into it. I'm just setting up all these twaps, and then I realized that like we're live in like 20 minutes, so I try over here, and
Wait, so you haven't even rebuilt the portfolio yet? You just gotta have-
I've like put a bunch of stuff up. It's like kind of okay. Like I was up a lot on a lot of things, and I hadn't really TP'd much, so I don't know. Sometimes it's fine to just like take profits and just reassess. Like, would I buy back in here?
It could be a blessing. Could be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if Ethereum rips to 3,600, and then it will
Yeah.
be.
Well, we're gonna have I think that's gonna be kind of useful for me and the audience, is like seeing if you would re-enter on some of these charts you're gonna show today, because you're literally going to be making that decision.
Oh my goodness. What a freaking disaster. Anyway, if you guys haven't already, give the video a like, give the stream a like, and please sub to us. youtube.com/irresponsiblylongpod, I believe, is our URL. We're trying to pump those Trying to pump those numbers.
Yeah, we need to get the subs up.
We need more subs. Like the amount of live viewers we have relative to subs is kind of insane. Actually, goes to show how lovely this audience we have is. You are all such beautiful people. Thank you so much. Anyway, that's enough chatter. Let's get into the news of the week. So, I think first up, we had something that happened today, which is pretty sweet. We had Reddit buying Bitcoin and ETH.
Is that showing? Is that
Yeah.
showing on the stream?
You got it up there?
I think so.
Oh, no.
It's black.
Oh, no, it's black.
What is happening? Hang on.
We're having some technical difficulties. Womp womp. Well,
Unplug that maybe and plug it in.
this one?
Yeah. Still nothing?
Nothing there, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Show's going to be really hard without visuals.
What the
We need to... Oh, there it is.
Oh, it is on.
It's on. We did it.
It's a freaking miracle. Love that.
Oh. Anyway, yeah, so Reddit announced it's diversifying its treasury into Bitcoin and ETH per SEC filing today. I believe they said they're going to continue to do so as well.
It's happening.
It's happening.
It's finally happening.
It's happening for the 15th
Right.
time, but this time is definitely real.
Like, didn't Tesla do that originally, and then they abandoned that strategy?
Yeah, they bought and then they sold some and kind of shit on it, and it didn't really lead to much. But we still need the Michael Saylor of Ethereum. So
Right. Like, if you were a CFO, is that something you would even consider? Because I don't think that would be like my strategy. Honestly, is like a treasury management is like go into something that can drop 75% on you.
I'm into Saylor's kind of thing that like if you like have a big treasury, you got to put some of it in there.
Yeah, I guess that makes some of it. Sure.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Put like a couple percent or something. It's also just bad optics. I feel like if you're like a crypto company and you don't hold any crypto.
Oh, true. Yeah, I think on a related note, I think like Apple has like a massive cash hoard, and they have like their own little hedge fund associated with that, like treasury management. They like invest in stocks and stuff.
I love that Apple has its own hedge fund. It's like one of the most baller things.
Yeah.
Imagine having a company that is just so rich that you're like, well, we have no option here other than to start our own hedge fund.
Yeah, so
Casual.
maybe they'll buy some ETH soon.
Oh, yeah, man. I hope so. That would be a beautiful, beautiful thing. We also had Nigeria today decided to ban Bitcoin.
Wait, this is the price of Bitcoin in Nigeria?
So this is the price of Bitcoin in Nigerian
ends.
NGN, Nigerian ends. Dude, we are well past all-time highs in Nigeria. I think all-time high was like 30 million. We're at 83 million. Up only.
So they banned like the access points, right? They banned like your ability to access Coinbase and Kraken and Binance, I believe.
Yeah, they nixed.
Dude, doesn't that kind of like make you sort of pause for a second? It's like, well, that's sort of this risk that we're not really considering.
No.
No, up only.
What, you think like the U.S. is just gonna ban?
Well, I'm just saying that it can, and this is an example of it literally
really,
happening.
though. This is just like weird Banana Republic shit,
So
the reality is like the money just flows elsewhere. Like the money's still going to flow out of the Nigerian dollar, and it's going to be a terrible thing even for Nigeria. The U.S. does it. It's the same thing. Like all this money is going to squeeze to like
True.
Singapore, or maybe some of the BRICS countries start embracing it as like an anti-U.S. thing. Like who knows? But like it's like a balloon. You squeeze it, the air is going to go somewhere. It wouldn't be great in the short run, but it also just it doesn't make any sense. Like the game theory of it doesn't make any sense.
I agree with
to me.
that.
Especially now that all the banks have their claws in it. They want to make money. They want to pump the bags.
I
They have
did
an unholy alliance going on.
I
right
did
now.
hear that like Nigerians like own a fuck ton of crypto, like on a per capita basis. They're like, pretty high.
I would if that's what the Bitcoin chart looked like. Like, holy God, the inflation there is nuts. I think they're like rolling out a CBDC or something. I know like people have been running around like smashing ATMs and doing all sorts of crazy
Damn.
shit in revolt. Yeah, it's not good over there. I saw somebody else tweeted. I can't remember who it is, but Bitcoin has already broken its all-time high versus like I think 14 or 15 world currencies.
I saw that too.
already.
Yeah.
So it's happening.
It's
It's all
happening.
in progress. It's all in progress.
What else we got?
What else do we have? It looks like we got. Hey, don't put my notes on the screen. What are you doing?
I thought you were going to click. You're like hovering over the button. Just click.
Come on, man. Come on, man. That's not how this works. I got to put the tabs up. Don't make me hire a production assistant over here.
Wow.
My God. Yeah. NVIDIA smashing earnings. It's a funny tweet from
Daddy Jensen.
Daddy Jensen. He's celebrating. Up only. No.
What a beautiful earnings call that was.
Beautiful. Beautiful. The chart is looking good on NVIDIA for sure. Where is my... There we go. Boom. Oh, it was
Yikes.
looking really dicey for like 3 days.
Yeah.
People were like, oh no, it's over. Here's the bursting of the bubble. Yoink.
Dude, it's crazy that people thought that was going to be over when like there's clear visibility into their order backlog. I mean, I kind of felt like it was obvious.
This just kind of goes in with my like bull market thesis, right? Which is that like everybody is so PTSD, just constantly like looking for the exit. Like, is this the top? Is this the top? Like, we did have a dip for like 4 days. People are like, it's over. It's incredible. It's like the stuff you see at the very beginning of the parabolic advance. Like, this is not the stuff you see anywhere near the top.
Right. The top is just full euphoria, no fear. I think what's also interesting about NVIDIA is like they grew earnings so much that this is not even like a bubble stock.
No.
Like they're trading at like 25 times forward at this point. It's like the NASDAQ, essentially. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, is wild, and that's why like I think like a lot of the money. We're going to talk about some of our winners and losers of the week pretty soon. One of those winners is AI coins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I want to get into that.
Trading at like I didn't even look at their forward price to sales today. It was like 22 when I checked
Yeah.
a couple of days ago. So now it's probably even worse. Like people are paying 25 soon, like what 30 times sales for.
But the sales,
it's
like
insane.
they make
forward sales.
Well, forward sales, yeah,
Yeah.
but I think they have such a high operating margin that with that one you'd want to use earnings instead of sales. Like the sales don't matter because they earn so much of their sales.
Yeah.
So I think they're actually okay on valuation.
Yeah. I mean, this is something we understand in crypto, which is that like these valuations are like people are still applying these like old mental models, like the idea that stocks have fundamental value and cash flows and stuff, to like the modern investing paradigm, which is just like full blown nihilism and stupidity.
Yeah.
And we sort of embrace that on the show for what it is. Although I did see a good stat this week where somebody was posting like Microsoft, Google, Facebook over time, and like how like how well the stock price actually tracked earnings.
Oh, they do in the long term.
They converge so well.
Oh yeah.
So well. The market's actually really, really good.
Yeah, it's like it's not that much of a meme. Like it's a real
Yeah.
thing. I thought the most interesting thing about NVIDIA though was just like how much value it added in one day. I think it was the most value added to any single stock in one day. It was like almost 300 billion, like nearly the size of an Ethereum network.
The numbers are getting crazy, man. Like I remember it was like incomprehensible that we would have like a $1 trillion company, and now we get like a bunch of them. Pretty soon we're gonna have a $1 trillion person.
But if you can add an Ethereum network in a day, that just tells me that Ethereum network is too small. By
We're
market
small.
cap.
We are still, I think, smaller than Home Depot.
Right. Like, yeah.
Which is kind of funny to think about. Yeah, unironically, very, very early. And that idea and the idea of this PTSD. So I tweeted a tweet yesterday, and Twitter's very funny to me. Like I sometimes put a lot of effort into making these charts and doing these like great like in-depth analysis with multiple threads and all this stuff. And some of them they're great. I consider them to be works of art. I get like 1 retweet and like 15 likes, and then I just like you just bull post ETH, and then it's just like I got like DC investors retweeting me.
Dude, you've had a massive. It's been a massive week for your Twitter account. You have a follow from Vance Spencer, a retweet from DC Investor. It's like it's all working for you after nearly a decade.
My Twitter
in
account's
space.
like the ETH chart. It's just like steadily growing. There's no parabola in there, but you're like, that's a good chart. It's a good chart. It's a good buy. This guy's.
So hold on, let's go read the tweet that you posted.
Yeah. So I tweeted. Last cycle, people were kind of delusional with their predictions. Now everyone left has PTSD and a 7K ETH price target. Gives me hope that a generational blow off top to 40K is in the cards with some decent probability. And the Twitter loved this. Everyone's like, yes, this confirms all of my biases.
Dude, 40K is insane, bro.
Okay, well let's talk about that. Like, is 40K insane? Because I actually don't think 40K is that insane.
Well, are you talking about like in 100 years, or
no? I'm talking
cycle?
about in like a cycle. I think it's a good question of like what is a cycle going to be. Like I think anything from like a very left translated cycle where we're just kind of over middle of next year or early next year is on the table. But I also think like a sort of like dawn of like the rebirth of the internet type cycle could be in the cards as well. I mean, keep in mind in the real world, like what's the business cycle usually, like 10 years?
Yeah.
And we just had like a 2 mega like sell-offs, right? We basically had a massive bear market in 2020, and then we like ran it back in 2022 and had another massive bear market. Like, is it that crazy to think that after those 2 complete disasters that we now just go on for years in the other direction?
Yeah, like we kind of pulled forward like 2 bear markets, and now we just have like a longer duration bull that goes through the decade. I could see it.
Mm-hmm. So what does 40K look like? Well, I don't know. Like I can get to 40K pretty easily in a world where Bitcoin hits like 240,000, right? Now, if I told you Bitcoin was going to go to 240,000, you wouldn't be like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard. You'd be like,
right.
That sounds like an aggressive but very doable
and in
price target.
In that world, 240K Bitcoin, you wouldn't have like 7K ETH.
Yeah, well, so 240K for Bitcoin is what? That's like roughly like call it like a 5x from here. Let's call it a 5x for ease of math, right? So 5x for ETH is 15,000, right? But we're at like 0.055 or so on the ratio. What's all-time highs? Like 0.09
or something? No, 0.15 is the flippening.
Sorry. Well, I mean, that is basically all-time highs, though. It was like we almost flipped, I think. So I think it's basically around there. Here, I'll pull it up and I'll give you like an exact number on the old Charter-Rooney. So it looks like all-time high on the ratio was about 0.15-ish, right?
Damn.
So that is solid 3x from here. So 3 times 15K is 45K.
Damn. That's pretty good moon math. I like it.
Yeah. And what's current market cap? Like probably like 330 or so.
350 or so. Yeah.
350 bill?
Yeah.
Yeah, 350 bill. So like 10 or 12. I mean, that's basically like a 4 trillion market cap
for ETH.
That's a big number, but
it would be
like if this is sort of like a 4 or 5, 6 year thing, inflation kind of keeps running high. They just run the money printers, Nvidia goes to like 5 or 6 like we're gonna have like a bunch of companies going to multiple trillions of dollars. Like not insane to me that like Ethereum and Bitcoin are each worth like $3 or $4 trillion a piece, right?
I was thinking more along. I mean, my estimate's a little more conservative, but I was thinking like a $10 trillion crypto market cap, ETH dominance, like, between 15 and 20%. That gives you like I think that comes out to like a 15K ETH price. Still pretty good.
I think 15K is like a very reasonable. That's. I feel like 13. Like if you were to ask me, okay, like what is actually like your median price target at this point? Like, I think 13 is pretty doable. You gotta keep in mind, like the point of the tweet wasn't to say that 40K is coming, right? It was
Yeah.
40K is a decent probability. There's a probability distribution of all the outcomes that could happen. Like there's a world where we get 4K and it's over, right? That's a shitty world, but like it's in there. But is that probability like 0? No, I don't think it's 0. Is it 1%? I think it's higher than 1%. Is it 5%? 10%? I don't know, but like I think it's in there, and it really affects like the EV you have. Like if you have a 10% probability of 40K, that's another 4K kind of tacked onto the price and
Right.
expected value in a way.
Right.
And like the stage is set for it because like everybody is fully nihilistic. Everybody's like, you look, none of this is ever going to do anything, but we're just going to play the casino and have fun and whatever. And everybody got burned so badly last cycle. There's no optimism. Like it's like the perfect formula for like an outperformance this time around. And that happens a lot in markets, right? Like the market collectively believes a thing, people get on one side of the boat, and then like the other thing happens, and then people get on the other side of the boat, and then the boat swings the other way. This is totally normal behavior. You see it all the time, so wouldn't shock me here.
So with your ETH prediction and with that like fairly plausible 40K outcome, like are you allocated just overwhelmingly to ETH? Because I sure am, and I still feel like I don't even have enough, and I have so much, and I feel like I don't have enough.
I know. I mean, I know that like we've had some recent episodes where we've been looking at the chart like, oh my god, like please,
Yeah, come on, please.
get to the point. But no, I never. Like the only ETH I sold some ETH in like November because I was just like I don't have enough SOL, and
Yeah.
like it's really stupid to not have like a decent bag of that.
Right.
So other than that, like no, I've just been like on this trade for a while. Like I've been holding this trade for like basically like a year
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, and I guess like another question I had is like, we talked about high beta ETH, like high beta versions of ETH, which would be like Lido or Optimism, Arbitrum, stuff like that we were thinking would outperform ETH in a bull cycle. And I'm starting to question that too, where it's like, we got all this ETH restaking, we got 30% yields on ETH on chain, and I'm like, why would I own any of that like high beta stuff when ETH's what I really want?
People say this every cycle. There is virtually no chance, like virtually zero, that ETH outperforms a basket of those things. The timing of this stuff can be pretty gnarly. Like you can get into like an ARB, Lido, Pendle, but like if you got into like ARB, Lido, and Pendle like a couple weeks ago or something, like you might be down like 30% versus ETH right now, like already. Like some stuff has just gotten annihilated on the ratio. Like there's so much volatility in those trades, thus the high beta, I guess. But like if you hold that for the whole cycle, like are you going to underperform? Like I don't think so. And it is true that last cycle we had this like kind of DeFi boom, and then if you bought the top of that, it was just over.
Down only in
Down
ETH terms.
only.
And down only in dollar terms, actually. It's down
I
only.
don't think that's the case here. I especially don't think it's the case for like L2s. Like if you want to buy like Optimism or Arbitrum, or you maybe even consider Polygon, to stop being a piece of crap. It has been pretty strong recently, actually, but I always caution myself against buying that coin. But like I don't see any reason why like OP can't get to like $100 billion, or more. Like these, I think these, like I've especially gotten bullish on optimism relative to Arbitrum recently. It just seems like the market is liking that coin more right now. I mean, Arbitrum also has so many unlocks coming, like a lot in the coming weeks. So it could be like a really interesting time actually to get into some of these L2s. Because right now everybody I think is like of the mindset I have. They're like, wait, so I can hold Ethereum, basically farm this enormous yield and just like chill.
Yeah.
While like an ETF might be coming around the corner.
Yeah.
And like we basically had this pump after the Bitcoin ETF, and an ETH beta pumped really hard. But man, that was it. Like it was over. I mean, the like the ARB ETH chart looks really bad. But
yeah, where are we going on this? Like where
I think we're going like about here,
mid-range,
probably. Like I don't know. Like I kind of think you can probably start averaging in the box there, and I think you're probably fine. I think this does well. The OP ETH chart I think is slightly less terrible, but still not like at least here you can kind of squint and say like, oh, this is maybe just like a giant bull flag, and but still, it wouldn't shock me if we kind of dip into that box before like continuing higher. But the OP ETH chart does look stronger to me. I saw somebody trolling on Twitter today that they were raising around for their new ETH like L2, and made some like AI thing. It was a joke. Like he had a screenshot of like the kind of like there's like this with like the Optimism super chain. Like you can basically like there's like a launch your own chain kind of thing. Like you can just go there and enter some parameters and just like launch a chain. And like there were literally people in the comments like, yeah, I'm DMing you for
yeah, just give me in,
DMing
take my money
right now. And I was just like, oh my god, like there could be just like I know this is something we've talked about before, the idea that there could just be like not a billion, but like many L2s launched this cycle, just like a complete L2 mania, which is like another interesting thesis for ETH, right? Like if basically like everybody just keeps launching L2s and you just bridge your ETH to them and you just get free money like you're doing with Blast right now. And like
what's the update with Blast? Because I bridged some money over there. Like when's that gonna give us anything?
I think the money's supposed to be unlocked this month.
Oh,
that's what they were saying. I think they were saying February and then maybe May token.
Some of these things I'm like not keeping up with them. Like, are there things that you have to like actively farm at times, or like are most of these like set and forgets? Like the PenPy one that you shared a couple episodes ago, I'm loving because I just deploy that and forget about it, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the project. Like Blast is sort of just gamified through like referrals, It's very like it's like the Herbalife of airdrop farming. I think the hack with Blast is that you sign up and then you sign up on your own link, and then on that second link, then you sign up other people, and then like because then you have like you get like one stream down, like you get a chunk of the people you referred who they refer.
Damn.
So I think you can do that too.
Weren't people like creating a ton of Twitter accounts and just like referring themselves?
Yeah, I mean that's what you have to do. I mean that's what I did. Please don't take my money away. So we've had this problem with people sibling like the airdrops, where there's just this non-linear distribution of tokens. It's not proportionate to the amount of money you get in there. And like some of the Cosmos stuff has been like especially terrible for this, and it's wild. I mean, I saw somebody posted somebody like just dumped. They had like 1,400 wallets farming the Stark airdrop, and they got like $4 million of tokens.
Whoa.
There's people who have just printed. It's probably one of the easiest ways to make $1 million in the history of humanity, and I didn't do it, of course.
We'll see. Daddy Tunsky is gonna He's gonna just be the
Daddy
sponsor of
Tennessee's
this show.
gonna be like 10 times richer than me by the end of the cycle just from airdrop farming. It's gonna be insane. But it's my understanding that like Eigen and Blast, like they're not really doing like a super skewed distribution. So I don't think that there's a ton of benefit to signing up with like 1,000 accounts for Blast. Like I didn't do that. And I didn't really do it for Eigen either. I mean, I struck like a middle ground with EigenLayer. Like I did a bunch of wallets, but like not like in a crazy kind of Sybil kind of way. And what I hadn't considered was that although the Eigen airdrop itself might not be giving like disproportionate rewards to small wallets, there are projects who are airdropping to Eigen restakers. Like I've gotten, I forgot the name of it. I got like a few like $3,000 or $4,000 airdrop for like Eigen restaking, and they gave like a bunch to each of the wallets, and there was like and it was.
And that happened already? They already gave you that?
Yeah, and so I think that airdrop's done. I can't even remember the name of it.
Damn.
Something, but like, yeah. So I ended up getting like $4,000 of tokens, which is awesome. But if I had done it all in one, like there was like a max where I would have gotten $2,000 of tokens. So same amount of money staked, but by restaking across like a bunch of wallets, actually.
Damn,
ended up getting more money, but not from Eigen, from people who are airdropping to.
I gotta stay
Eigen.
on top of this because I got a ton of Eigen points.
Yeah, I mean, we are definitely in that phase of the the bull market where stuff is kicking up. It's hard to keep on stuff. Like I already missed the TIA the TIA airdrop, which was horrible.
Damn.
I missed an airdrop to I think Arcade XYZ airdrop to Little Pudgies. I missed that.
Damn.
There's probably a bunch of
And
stuff
you have
I
to
missed
like
that I don't.
You have to actively claim that stuff.
Yeah, they have these. It's such a quick claim period. It kind of sucks, but yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah, so let's talk about the farming a little bit more though, because this is one of the moves I've been making this week is in the farming. Definitely, I've been in Blast for a while, been in Eigen for a while. I saw somebody tweeting this week. Where's this tweet? Oh, Scroll. Scroll is seriously underfarmed. So Scroll is kind of like it's an ETH layer 2. It's kind of like the layer 2 for like devs by devs. I don't know, some shtick ZK. But yeah, I don't know if this is still a thing, but as of a few days ago, you know, this guy was in the top 0.6% with 2K bridging volume and $13,000 of on-chain volume.
So I see people actually posting this image in our Discord. So I think people are on that in our we have an airdrop farming channel that I don't really participate in, but I think
that channel is great actually. So if people aren't in our Discord, there's an airdrop farming thread, and some of the guys in it have made some really nice gains, and I've ignored a bunch of stuff by not, well, I didn't ignore, I missed it by ignoring the channel for long periods of time, just because like the farming stuff really just hurts my brain. I just want to like look at a chart and like long ETH now.
So with this Scroll, for instance, you just bridge money to this L2 and maybe do some swaps on there.
Yeah, interact with some smart contracts, apps, you know, bridging, do it on a bunch of wallets. Like this is just the play, right? Like this is the bull market easy mode right now, is to just have a fat stack of ETH and just play with all of these L2s that are coming out, all of the and then you've also got like the liquid restaking stuff, like we talked about EtherFi last week. There's what, like Puffer, Renzo.
Wait, those are like different versions of
different, like, yeah. So there's so much stuff to play around with, and I think that they're all going to have like decent sized like valuations.
So I've heard
they're attached to something that's like very big.
I've heard of Renzo. That's just like another version of like ETH. It's like Renzo ETH.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then you can stake that and earn yield.
That definitely has a Pendle pool.
It has a Pendle pool, and then you can take it to PenPy as well, probably.
I believe so. Yes.
Oh my god, I got to jump on that one too. when after you mentioned the Ether 5 version and then to Pendle and then to PenPy, I'm so comfy in that thing that I was like, why didn't I do way more ETH? So I'll play around with this Renzo and
Yeah.
Puffer, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot. Other big thing people have been talking about is have you heard of Athena?
Yeah, that's the new. It's kind of like stablecoin yield, right? You just like you're beta neutral on ETH.
So it's a stable coin, but it's basically like a basis trade in a stable coin. So ETH has like this, inherently positive base. Well, not during the bear market, but
Yeah.
for the most part, like a very it's got a nice basis. There's a lot of funding.
You pay funding
So
to
you can
borrow.
go, yeah. Like somebody posted, I think it was Pat posted in the Discord that on GMX, I think it was last week. Like it was basically like 65% APR to be delta neutral.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Well, like
which is
I remember,
kinda wild.
like I was doing this in the bear market manually, and that was cool. I was only getting like 10% on the funding at that point. But with this Athena, wouldn't you just rather be long the coins rather than getting like a 30% stablecoin yield? I think I just want to be long.
Well, the math on the airdrop farming is.
Oh, this has a
Also
potential
gonna be a lot.
airdrop. Okay.
I'm also. I don't know. I have to look into the mechanics of it. Like, I'm not sure if you lose your ETH exposure by using it. I haven't looked into this like super in depth yet.
I think so because they just go long ST ETH and they short ETH.
Well, you have to like deposit ETH to get the stable coin, but like, and I think you can go the other way with that.
Oh, like there's different options.
Yeah,
in
I
there.
don't know, but I'm talking out of my ass right now. But like the important thing to note is that you aren't just getting like I think it is yielding like somebody said it was like 27%. This is like on my list of I have like this like to farm list.
I mean, to farm it is interesting, but I'm getting a higher yield on my long
right, but
ETH exposure.
Your yield on the airdrop is going to be like like we talked about how last week like people are basically paying like 40 something percent APR like
for points.
For it's the equivalent of that to like sort of farm these eigen things, which
Yeah.
probably means like the actual expected value is a lot higher. If
Probably
that's what
higher.
people are willing to pay.
I agree.
So yeah, you could play around with Athena and similar thing and kind of get points. I think they're going for some predetermined amount of time or $1 billion, like whichever comes first. I think they're at like in like the 400 millions of stablecoin.
What chain is this protocol on? Is it a layer 2 ETH?
I think it's on base layer.
Oh, it's on ETH layer 1.
Yeah, I haven't gone too into the nitty gritty of it. I just know it's a thing. It's the thing people are doing.
Is
It's the
Bread
thing
still in the
I
chat?
need
Bread,
to be doing.
where is Athena on? Where do I find Athena? Bread's in there. He'll let us know. He's on top of all this stuff.
I appreciate the chat doing things. Wonder if it's like Athena.fi. Boom.
He literally just guessed it and nailed it.
Yeah, 413 million TVL, saying 15% yield at the moment. So, access restricted. Can't
No
go in the
VPN.
U.S. Classic. Thank you for protecting me from all this free money, Gary.
Oh, they say it's on mainnet, but soon it'll be on Mantle as well. But for now,
Ooh,
mainnet.
Mantle. I'm very glad I made like a sizable like Mantle ETH buy like a few weeks ago and used that to get into Eigen and
Oh, nice.
Loving it.
Because that was giving you like a 7
yeah,
something yield.
nice kind of fat guaranteed subsidized return there, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, I love that.
The other one that I've been farming, I haven't heard too many people talking about this. Let's see if I can find it here. It is a protocol on Solana called Parcel. Kind of an interesting thing. It's basically an app to speculate on real estate.
Okay.
So, because it's on Solana, and I think all these airdrop distributions are stupid, I think this is one you probably want to do a bunch of wallets on. But you could basically it's kind of one of these things where you can kind of put money, you put stable coins into a liquidity pool, and there's there's a high APR probably with some sort of risk attached to it.
Wait, isn't this like you can kind of like bet on certain cities or you can bet on certain markets? I think Nick was showing me this. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Like they've like they've got markets at Brooklyn, Houston, New York, London. So yeah, you can kind of speculate on these things. It's an interesting thing.
And
I'm
that's
just kind of
on-
in it for the free money.
And that's on Solana.
Yeah.
Damn. So much alpha in this episode. It's chock full.
Just free. It's just raining free money from the skies right now.
Yeah,
just raining free
You
money.
got to get your bucket out and collect.
I admit, dude, like a peak of peak of last bull cycle when I was farming, like I was making like just 6 figures a month from farms, just free
Dude.
tokens, just dumping. It was unbelievable.
You
Like,
got
they were
that
just
DYDX one was huge.
yeah. I got like almost like 300K from DYDX.
God.
That was
ENS
insane.
ENS was a good one.
That was just pure dumb luck too. Like I happened to use it and happened to use a VPN and I happened to do it on like a bunch of wallets and I had like good volume and got like close to some of the higher distributions. It was such a blessing. And I think I sold the token for like $18 or $19 too.
Wow.
It was up there.
Sold the top. Damn.
And I think the top was like I feel like it was like $28 or something. It
Yeah.
got up there.
Now we're at
It
like,
got up there and then it got down there.
we're at $3 now. I feel like it's kind of a good one to own maybe.
Yeah, DYDX is like an interesting project to me. I have like a small bag of it now. It's got a decent yield from staking it that I think comes from the actual trading activity, which is cool. It was like I think it was like 17% last I saw. They've got their own, they got their own chain live
Yeah.
now. The new, I've been trading on is it V3 now or V4? Nice little interface. They got more markets there, which is cool. Like they got kind of weird, well, not weird, but like stuff that you don't see on ETH, like
Small cap stuff.
yeah, they've got like Say
Oh,
or
nice.
Sui, markets for that. Some stuff like that. So if you don't have like an exchange, if you're like an on-chain or
Yeah.
like you can still kind of get some exposure to
It was
that.
always my favorite. And I've used Quenta too, but I like DYDX a lot.
And it's cool trading perps on chain because like Quenta, DYDX, like they're giving you free tokens for trading as well, which is nice. And then they usually have affiliates, and you can sign yourself up as an affiliate and get more free tokens. So it's not a bad deal. It's a good time to be in crypto right now. Like the writing is on the wall. People see that we're back, and all these projects are scrambling, for market share now. Trying to build a community, and we're just going to start seeing more and more and more airdrops raining from the sky. I mean, I probably need to start dedicating more of my day to sort of just like actively paying attention to this stuff and hanging out in our airdrop channel more to keep an ear to the ground. There's also probably some account that I could follow that I don't follow that just tells me all this stuff like very easily. So
I remember Olympio on Twitter was the guy that was my airdrop guy from last cycle. I don't know if he's still around. But I always thought that it would be cool to like, we do like a house party. Maybe we make those old fashions we've been talking about at the house party, but then we all have our laptops. We do a little farming in the background.
Sybil airdrop party.
Yes.
All the kids are doing it. All right. Well, let's talk about some other moves, some non-farming moves, maybe some speculative moves. I guess we could start with me. I did a few things this week. I parted ways with most of my Pendle bag.
Dang. See ya.
I sold like 85% of it, like 311 or something. I think I had the chart up on the show, and I was very worried about this like low resistance kind of trend line liquidity there. It's just like looked to me like we could just swipe all of that very, very quickly. And I was also afraid that I've seen these farms before where they have like the emissions and they get the TVL, and like obviously Pendle's been running up really, really hard into the restaking narrative, and that's kind of really been hitting like a fever pitch. And I was just like, like how much better is this going to be? I think I was up like 15x on this thing too. It's probably like one of my better trade, maybe my best trade of the bear market. And then I was just like, what would I rather have at this point? Like, do I really want to buy that? Would I buy more of this coin at 310, or would I rather just have like more ETH to farm with, or would I rather like buy some more like AI coins or something like that? Because
I feel like that's the barbell in crypto right now that everyone should own, is just like long ETH that can be restaked, or those AI shit coin things that are like all the smallest market cap ones probably.
Yeah, like I haven't I haven't ventured too much into the small market caps. The one exception being the shitcoin we shared last week, Dither on Solana. I want to stress again, like I feel bad talking about small cap stuff. The only reason I'm doing it is because the show doesn't have like an enormous audience. The other weird thing about this coin is that it's like 17 million market cap now, but the liquidity pool is like 120K. So like this thing was, I mean, we talked about this on the show last week. I think it was like 15 cents or something. It ran up immediately to 30 cents, then dumped to 5.
Oh my God.
A couple days later. But it actually looks pretty good to me right now. So I actually DCA'd a little more here like yesterday and today, because again, like I love Jupiter. I love the DCA feature.
So you just like plug in your limit order into Jupiter and it auto.
It's not even a limit. It's a DCA, and you can DCA only below like a specific price if you want to, which is how I had it set up.
You must tell it the cadence that it allocates.
Yeah, you say like, look, I'm gonna do 5 days as long as price is below like 18 cents or something.
Okay.
And it's really good for stuff like this, because like if I wanted to just market buy, if I wanted to buy $10,000 of this, right? My options are, well, I market buy, and then I probably slip price like 15%. So that's a terrible option, right? But then it's like, what do you do? Do I want to manually like log in like every 3 hours and buy like $500? Like, no, that also sounds terrible. But with Jupiter, yeah, you can just TWAP it. And,
nice.
And it minimizes the price impact. Like if you're just market buying like a tiny amount. Yeah. So yeah, this is a fun lotto ticket for me, but I'm hoping I'm hoping it does something. Other than that, like my main AI bag continues to be and you know, has for a while been Render. Render's been having a nice time. Chart looks so good, man. We're going for the all-time high.
Wow.
Did
it get it yet?
On Binance. Looks like we're at 794 on Binance. So no, we have not. We've not tagged that yet. I don't know. Maybe that's a decent time to. I was telling Carne, I saw to Chris before he got in here that I haven't taken any profits on this thing at all.
God, this kind of reminds me of some of the stuff you've been teaching in Magic Lines and in this channel. Like if it doesn't break through that.
It's like, yeah, like I love like kind of scalping these levels. Like you can like on an all-time high type level, like you can sometimes get like a really nice move on like a, you know, multi-hour trade or something like that. Not that it's gonna just permanently go down from there, but like typically you have like pretty big reactions on these levels. Like if you have a monthly level and you're trading like the 5 or the 15-minute chart around it, like you can get like a nice move on that time frame off that level. But I don't know. I think I'm just gonna keep holding this thing, just because, like I've been saying this on the show for months. Like AI crypto is going to be a thing. It's gonna be a big narrative. It's still pretty small. I feel like I don't have enough of my portfolio in it as well.
Dude, I have zero, and crypto AI, like AI is only like 1% of the entire crypto market cap, and just Nvidia is more than that in the TradFi market cap. So like there's room to run for sure. I need you to tell us what are the good ones.
So the problem with stuff right now is that all of these coins are like, right. So Render all-time high, Fetch, I think just tagged all time. Like I don't want to be buying these things
right there, right
at their all-time high. Like I want to buy like a significant breakout, you know, probably like the second try of the all-time high, or I want to buy like a big dip on a rejection of it. Fetch, I definitely got too cute with. I actually, God, I owned this coin in May. I had like a decent bag of it actually, and I got like kind of impatient, and I was like kind of overweight, like dog shit, and I was like, it's like a little early in the cycle still, and I think I ended up dumping it at like 26 cents or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, pain. But that thing is just mooning. There's some interesting plays that like some of these dinosaur coins, like iExec, RLC. This thing has been turbo mooning.
Whoa.
All right, dude, I own this. I owned this coin back in 2017.
What?
Yeah, it was kind of like an AWS on the blockchain. I was like, oh my god, AWS on the blockchain, crypto's so sick. Obviously, that was a dumb narrative at the time.
Well, what about like isn't Filecoin kind of the same narrative? Like Nick had asked you to pull up Filecoin as well. I don't know. They're kind of lumping it into the AI narrative right now too.
Yeah, I know there's some overlap with like the decentralized storage and the AI thing, and I find the whole narrative like very, very fascinating because like I'm seeing what's unfolding in AI right now. Like for example, we talked about Sora on Alfalfa yesterday, and like how this is going to be very disruptive to the world because like people are going to want to use this model to do things that society doesn't want them to do.
Right. It might be like banned or something.
Right. So much in the same way that there was this like demand for like sort of like these illicit things that like Bitcoin enabled back in the day to sort of circumvent the government. The same type of kind of black market, right? You can see that already. It's going to crop up in AI. Like
Totally.
there's going to be things people wants to do. They're not going to want to use these like kind of permissioned models. And if people really start cracking down and they go after, like it's very easy to go after data, right? Like if like with like the way, people, it's currently stored, right? So if there's some stuff that people really want to be like decentralized, like I can kind of see where it makes sense for some of this data to kind of exist.
That's a pretty compelling narrative that you just laid out. That's kind of awesome. I kind of want a bag now. What's the chart looking like?
For what? File?
Yeah, for File.
File chart looks good. God, such strong moves. I mean, it's definitely pumping with the AI pump. Like the last kind of couple of weeks has been a noticeable AI pump. I mean, this chart is you really got to zoom out to.
Dude, what are its highs? This thing goes to like a 170 or something?
I mean, holy God. What a chart.
What the fuck?
What a chart. So, yeah, I mean, all-time high, 238, basically.
Jesus.
So, that little pump looks I should have bought this coin. I charted it for somebody in the Discord a long time ago and told them to buy it like 350 or something. Yeah, this little zone here.
Doesn't look like it's too late.
No, it's not. It's not. I feel like stuff like this, when stuff is like really turbo mooning, it's kind of an interesting time to TWAP if you can TWAP. Like if you have an exchange that lets you TWAP, it's nice to kind of like average into these things over like a lengthy period of time.
Yeah.
Rather than be like, oh, I can't buy this here, and then I'm gonna wait for this level, and if it comes back to that level. Or sometimes you're like, it's going to do that, so you just mark by the whole thing there, and then it just dumps immediately, and you feel like a freaking moron. It's very hard to trade this stuff. But
I think that's why I don't like shitcoining, because it demands too much of my attention for something that I don't allocate that much to.
It does. It's really a huge pain in the ass. Like a huge pain in the ass, for sure. But I also think it's just so relatively early in the cycle. And like even though you're looking at the Filecoin chart, and you're like, oh my God, look at this like big white candle, I can't buy now. Like you pull up the total 3 chart, and it's just
it's just getting started.
Like you have to imagine that by the end of the cycle, right, the chart is going to look like this.
Yeah.
So you're here right now. Like
Yep.
you're gonna look back, and there's just gonna be this whole, downtrend accumulation and then mega breakout. Like we're gonna break out above those highs. You can't take that check to the bank and cash it, but I think we're going to. I think like alts are gonna Bitcoin hasn't even broken all-time highs yet. Like we haven't even,
Dude, this is crazy.
begun to reach the point of mania.
It's crazy to me how we crossed over 3K ETH and it doesn't seem like anybody even noticed.
Yeah,
That's
Like,
fucking crazy.
I haven't received a single text.
Yeah.
I have one friend, shout out Tosh, who is like kind of stuck it out like through the whole thing. Very funny. Just loves shitcoining. I feel like she was like shilling me Caspa like over the summer.
Damn, she's giving you new stuff.
Dude, I think Caspa has been sending.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh no. I haven't checked this chart. This is a good looking chart, man. Whoa, man. Why don't I know?
Is that fresh? Fresh
why
chart?
Don't I own any Caspa?
Is that a maiden?
Holy God. Yeah, she was shilling me this stuff here in July. So
Nice
2 cents
move.
and 16. Nice
Tosh.
8x. Nice 8x. It's fine. I've 2x'd my ETH, so I'm basically doing the same. God damn it. I don't know. Oh, I've lost my train of thought now with all the FOMO. Trying to think what else I remember that I've been buying more Doge.
Oh my God.
Buying more Doge. I think I mentioned this a little bit.
You did. What are you doing?
Last week, but I'm just I'm twapping it. I'm twapping it, man.
Wow.
Twapping the Doge. I feel like this is the leg, dude. I feel like this is the one that's gonna kind of take us up.
I can see it.
I mean, it looks like you have the very high time frame, just like double bottom structure, and
Yep.
then a little market structure shift, retrace into the zone. Doge is going to $1 this cycle for sure. I'm calling that. I feel comfortable calling that.
So you're actually going to hold this thing? Like this isn't just
Doge
like
has to go to $1. Like this can't not go to $1.
oh my
This can't
God.
not go to $1. It's the king of meme coins. It's like it's also a good thing to hold. I think if you like kind of believe in memes like as a general asset class, but like you don't want to.
It's kind of like the original meme.
Yeah.
What's it at now? Like 7 cents or something?
8.5 cents. I need to find like a longer Doge chart. Like what is what's gonna be the longest Doge chart? Like Bitstamp or something? Bitfinex maybe? Like this thing goes way back. Maybe just Doge Tether. No, not it. Maybe that like son of a bitch. I don't know. It's probably not KuCoin. Yeah. I don't know. Like the very long-term data of Doge is like very interesting. You can actually kind of see these cycles it follows. Like it just flatlines and then just turbo pumps like in like one just mega god monthly candle basically and just takes you to Valhalla. Like you just have to accumulate it in this like basing period and just eat all the shitty volatility, and then let's just one day it's just like goodbye.
What was the high from the previous cycle? It was like 40 cents or something, 30 cents.
No, we get up to 75 or so, 73,
Oh, damn.
73.8. So
dollar is happening.
I think $1 happening.
Yeah.
I think $1 happening. I feel pretty good about it. Let us know in the chat if you have a Doge bag, because I want to know. What is chat talking about here? Afraid ETH restaking issue. Yeah. Everybody's worried about the ETH restaking. Catastrophic slashing event. I do worry about this as an ETH holder. It's like in the back of my mind.
Of like the actual risk of restaking.
Yeah, like if we're sitting at $15,000 ETH and everybody's getting like real dumb and we're just like putting staking on staking on staking on staking, maybe it's it's a good time to take something off the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Anyway, how about you? What have you been doing this week? I know you had some stuff you wanted to chat about.
Oh yeah, there's one trade I like that I wanted to talk about. related to Mara.
Ah,
It's an option
Mara.
trade. So, how do you feel about the miners? You still have any miner exposure?
I do. Like, I haven't added too much. Like, I was actually thinking about adding to Mara today again because it looked pretty spicy.
Hold on,
to
let's
me.
look at the chart there. What'd you see in the chart that made you intrigued?
Oops, I lost my Mara. So yeah, so on the weekly, like I think we have like this bullish structure. We have this zone here that kind of gave us the recent leg up, and then we have like a retracement into that zone, and then you have this setup I like on the weekly, which is the fair value gap in, and then the fair value gap out. Right. So this is like a cue I use in like a point of interest. Like if I have this is like a very high time frame point of interest, right? Like this is like a monthly point of interest. This kind of downtrend from 21 to $7 or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like if you're bullish on this thing, you think it's going to go higher. The order flow is bullish. Like you're looking on that retrace. It's a retrace on the weekly, right? So you're talking about maybe buying and then for months like having price go down. Still, so yeah, so like this is just sort of like the manipulation move. So in like a monthly zone, if I get like weekly fair value gap in, weekly fair value gap out, that becomes like a super interesting point to enter. And then you can see, I actually drew that wrong. There we go. So you can see we wicked down into it. Like if I go into the hourly chart, you'll see that could have actually been an interesting spot.
So that's you would look to enter in
yeah,
the
so you're
rectangle.
looking for like a setup in this zone.
But we're not so far away from the zone either. Like
Yeah.
if you want to just buy it.
So like we got like a sharp move out of the zone there as well on the hourly. So then that becomes like another fractal that you can enter off of, right? Because that creates like its own fair value gap. And then maybe, if you get a retrace sub 24, then with like the context of the weekly, the context of the monthly, you can kind of enter there on the hourly chart. Again, this is like if you're like a trader though. If you are just sort of, I want to own this stock because I'm like bullish on it. Like you just buy it. Just like DCAing in this area is totally fine.
Yeah, because we're kind of like fiddling between a few cents. But so I'm still long. I bought this using like long call options, leap options back when this thing was trading in the single digits, and I plan on just holding those, but I don't have any common stock. And I was talking with Chris about the way he's playing it. He is playing the yield from selling covered calls, and that's what I wanted to talk about today.
Okay.
So he's buying common stock. Let's say he entered today at $24 a share or whatever, and then he's selling covered calls every week at the 2 standard deviation level out of the money. And I took a screen grab of what the options chain looked like this morning. So that Mara was at $24.
Yeah, so these are calls that expire in 8 days. These are
So this is
first calls.
This is for next Friday.
So Mara is currently trading around like $24.
Yeah.
So he's selling, and you're selling. I guess you're both doing this. So you're selling a 37 strike a week from now.
Yeah.
That's a big move. That's like about like a 60% move.
Right.
In 8 days, which is a big move.
Yeah, it's kind of like if that happens and you lose your common stock because you're forced to sell at $37, I think you're kind of like, okay, taking a 60% gain in a week anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then like you look at the premiums on that $37 strike, you're getting 25 cents. So it's a 1% weekly yield. And Chris's take is to just play that yield, like just roll over covered calls every week. He thinks that Mara probably does go higher in the long term, and he also thinks that maybe it can pull back 50% in like a worst case scenario. But the weekly yield that he's capturing pretty much covers his downside, and then you get 60% upside.
Yeah. So the worst case scenario here, stock goes to say like $40 something next week. Your stock gets called away from you at 37. So you basically just lose the stock. You lose the gains from 37 to 40.
Yeah.
Sort of like an opportunity cost. but you don't like take any sort of equity hit to your trading account.
No, you've sold a little early.
You're like, I sold too early. I only got a
60% gain.
Is he doing it on like his entire holdings?
Yeah, he
So
literally
he could have like the entire thing called away.
Yeah, so he actually got into the trade, and this is what I thought was interesting. He got into the trade just for the yield. So he's just owning the shares to capture the yield. He thinks that the upside is kind of like an icing on the cake. I always look at the inverse. Like
it's pretty dangerous. Like miners, like these things can go down a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I think if you're not bullish on the asset itself, probably not a good idea.
Totally. And like, I think you said the worst case scenario is it goes up above your strike. I don't think that's worst case. Worst case is this thing drops down to 12 like next week. And then you have like a year that you have to like catch up on your premiums to like make that money back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did the math on this. I mean, you're like, assuming you're able to get this off the middle of the bid ask spread, you know, you're looking at like 50% APR. Like those little quarters, they don't look like a lot, but they add up.
Well, yeah, you can do it on like 100 contracts too. Then it does add up. But like what he's doing too that I like is that he's taking the yield, like the dollars he's getting from premium, and he's putting it into IBIT. And each one of these almost it like ties out perfectly that each contract that you sell like buys one share of IBIT. So he's like stacking sats while he's doing this.
Whoa, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool how it works out like that.
Damn. Okay, so he has a stack of miners. He's writing way out of the money covered calls and then using the proceeds of that to immediately buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Via the ETF. And yeah, that's interesting too, because if the miners pump 50%, it probably means the Bitcoin shares you just bought have pumped
right
substantially.
So then your
your
total return goes like through the roof. I mean, you're like now like pretty exposed to Bitcoin, but some people like that.
That's crazy. Like you could buy like $100,000 worth of Mara and just be like, I'm gonna live off this $50,000.
Yeah, dude. And like Mara probably go higher too. I think it does.
Yeah. Like your best case scenario is that Mara does like a very, very nice multiple. The sort of implied vol stays high like this, but it never really does a 50% in a week. And then you keep all of the stock and then all of the premiums you wrote, right? And then if you're not living off of that, maybe you're doing what Mr. Carne Asada did.
Buying
and
IBIT.
You're buying Bitcoin with it. That's a very funny trade. That is, I like that. That's the type of thing we love.
I love it too. I think it's degen. I think it's kind of healthy. I think it's like it's healthy enough to not be too degen. So I like it.
Oh man, what do you think, chat? Do you like that trade? Do you like the covered Mara trade? I used to do that basically with ETH. Like I was doing that towards like the end of the last bull and even in part of the bear, you know, like I was like very aggressively buying ETH, but I was sort of like hedging by I was just writing out of the money calls on it all the time because I was like, well, I can feel okay doing this. Like if like price tanks and like my net worth takes a huge hit, I have income. Like, I pay bills and stuff with it, and like if it like super moons, I make less money than I should have, but like I'm kind of okay. It's kind of like a vol dampening.
I was doing that too, and I liked it during the bear when we were kind of just sideways only. Mm-hmm. But I don't like it now. Right now, like, you know, there's like options platforms where you can trade options on ETH, like Deribit, and I'm seeing the implied vol on ETH like much lower than I am on TradFi stuff. So I'd rather just I don't want to sell options for sure. I'd maybe buy them.
Love that. Love it. I'm digging through the chat, see if anybody has any requests here before we start to wrap up this lovely episode. You're making me question my whole strategy now.
Well, you like this miner trade?
I mean, I just like own the options you're selling, like a DJ. Well, not those, but like like my exposure to it is like through options.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if like my whole brokerage account should just be like Bitcoin miners, and then just be like
yielding off of it.
just kind of pay my mortgage with like the
Yeah, it's pretty
the
good.
yield. That's oh man, what an interesting concept. All right, well I'm gonna think about that more after this episode. Nick Kangos wants us to look at CLSK.
That's another miner, right?
Yes, Clean Spark. Looks good. Looks better than Mara, honestly. This looks pretty strong.
Damn.
This looks good, man. I love this.
What's the dollar price?
Clean Spark, $17.
So when I do these options trades, it's nice to do like low dollar unit bias, I guess, on stocks that are low dollar, so you can do like many contracts.
I see. Well, Clean Spark's about the same as Mara, right? 17.24.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like this one. This looks nice. Strong momentum on the weekly. We're gonna take out all these highs. $80 incoming soon. Love it. It's gonna be fun looking at all these charts, I think, in like a year or two. Either way, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be funny. Yeah,
I think it'd be like, look how smart we are. Like, wow, we are freaking morons.
What was our friend Johnny Cosmo? His quote when he said, "I'm either gonna get really, really rich or really, really poor really fast listening to these guys."
Yeah,
But it's gonna be funny.
I think most of our audience got like, they've done well. We haven't hit everything over the years, but like the aggregate of it, I think, has been quite good. Ollie in the chat is requesting Cody. I don't even know what this is. Ollie, what is this? What am I looking at?
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it. It's a coin that I don't know. Might have to coin gecko it.
Left Side Capital asks if you use Bybit to trade.
Yes.
Confirmed. Bybit user.
Confirmed. I like Bybit. Good exchange.
Wasn't Left Side Capital the one talking about giving us a intro music? Left Side, what's going on with our intro song,
is
bud?
Left Side the intro guy?
Left Side, talk to me about that intro music, bud.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Cody, what are you?
It's a ETH Layer 2, Ali
ETH
says.
Layer 2? Ah! No kidding. Cody.io. Bringing privacy to... Oh, it's a privacy-centric layer 2. Okay.
We talking ZK?
Interesting. Small market cap. 150 market cap, 200 fully diluted.
Wow.
Does not have a gigantic... I hate that. Like, pains me. Look, 150 million market cap and 20 billion fully diluted.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've been kind of bringing that back. But yeah, anyway, back to the chart. This looks interesting.
I kind of am compelled by this one.
This looks interesting. Like, I see this area here on like a higher time frame as the area that, like, if you're bullish, right? And I think you do want to be bullish, right? Like, if for those of you not looking at the chart, sorry. But this is like a 2020 move right here, right? This is basically the down move that gave us the entire sort of bull pump is what we're looking at, right? So down move in early 2020 that gave us the 2020 pump. Very high time frame zone, right? That's like the type of zone that you can kind of just go to new all-time highs off of. It's not like a 15-minute order block or something like that. So that's where you're looking for something to happen. And then like on the weekly here, yeah, you can see on the mid-range have like a little like lower time frame bullish flip, right? Like this is like a lower time frame market structure shift here, right? In reality, like the higher time frame protected high is way up here at like 12 cents. So if you're like conservative, you can kind of wait for that to get broken. Like if that gets broken, like you're like, okay, this is
Then we're on.
we're on. But like if you're in a zone like this, right, you have the sort of higher time frame as like the wind at your back, right? When you see something happen on like the weekly chart, like even though like you're looking for like a monthly shift to happen, like the shift on the weekly or the daily can be a leading indicator about what's about to happen. And if it happens in like a bigger, higher time frame area, then that lower time frame shift that happens has a much higher probability of being the bottom because of the area in which that kind of market structure shift is happening. So like if you get the opportunity to sort of buy in this zone here, like from 5 cents to 8 cents or so, that's kind of like your quintessential setup there. I mean, there's a lot of ways to skin this cat. Like you can kind of use like, you could say like, oh, I'm going to do like an OTE setup, optimal trade entry. For those of you guys who don't know what this is, you can set this up with like a fib, right? There's like a kind of golden pocket on the fib, 0.61 to 0.79 or so, like this zone here on the fib, like roughly in here. And you can see that does kind of have some overlap. This is actually up here. That has some overlap with like this order block that just gave us this like most recent pump. Like, so this down move here, you can see like the impulsive move up. Whenever you have a down move that gives you like a fair value gap, that, that is like a valid order block, especially if it like breaks structure. So like a retrace into that area is like a great setup to buy.
That's your buy zone.
Yeah. So
what is that at, like eight something?
Yeah, like you could really justify buying this. Like if you're aggressive, you could just buy this at 8 cents and feel pretty good about it, because you have like overlapping zones here. Because not only do you have this is like a higher time frame order block, but you also have like a weekly fair value gap kind of nested in it, nested PD arrays, if you will. So this is kind of like a nice area. So I'm going to look into this more, because the fact that it's a lower market cap coin, I haven't heard a lot of people talking about it. It's got the kind of ETH layer 2 narrative. Like we're expecting there to kind of be a layer 2 frenzy. It's in this like higher time frame zone of interest and showing signs that it's just about to break out of it. And then all-time highs are like still a 7x from here. So I think this is like a really interesting chart, actually. And
nice, Ali. Good pick.
Ali, nice chart, man. Thank you. I love that I can crowdsource good ideas here. So I'm just gonna throw this in the old Trade Watch thing here, and we're gonna look at this. We're gonna look at this tomorrow. We might be talking about this coin on future episodes. I have a feeling, but yeah, I wanna dig into it a little more and see how much of like a legit project it is for sure. I'm sure that you've already done some due diligence, but yeah, I'm going to tackle that myself for sure. Let me pop back in to the chat here. Yeah, Ollie, it's ETH layer 2. Cool. Yeah, left side. He just heard the market sell the whole portfolio. Oh god. Oh man. Poog Lagoon, can you do Blur? Yeah, let's do Blur. We've talked about Blur a lot Blur on this, and I actually just made some moves on Blur
because you sold your whole portfolio.
Yes. Just my perps. My spot Blur is just locked up and earning my redacted points for Blast or whatever.
Oh wait, can I ask about that? So does just holding Blur earn you those Blast points, or do you have to do something?
No,
with it?
you have to stake them, and I think it's like foundation.blur.io. Like when I saw it, I was like, "Is this a scam?" Like I was just like, "Oh god, I'm getting fished." It's like it's kind of hard to find. Like it's not linked to anywhere on the Blur website from what I could see.
Man,
but I think it's foundation.blur.io. But like go in the Discord and
that's good to know. Yeah, I got to do
that. So yeah, Blur, good coin. We like the Blur. It's kind of going to align nicely with this Blast narrative, I think. And it's in this category of like apps that are good, that have like users, that have usage. Like I use Blur. And then you're kind of betting on what I think is like a pretty solid team there.
And a resurgence in NFTs eventually, which I think will happen.
And this is like undeniably a bullish chart. Like if you're kind of like a short-term trader, like I think you're going to be able to hop into a trade and target like 85 cents or so, with like a very high probability, right? Like, so if we get more of a pullback, you're going to get a situation where you kind of have like these equal highs, and then if you're going to get a kind of like an impulsive move up, say from this zone here, right? You're going to assume that this high is sort of like the draw on liquidity, and you can kind of target that. So that's probably what I would be doing on a perps trade. Like I'm looking to, here's what I'm doing. Let me just make this simple. So weekly chart, let's start with the weekly. Let me clear this thing. Boom. Weekly. So what we had last week, really nice weekly candle. Like, we like to see this. Solid weekly candle, strong weekly candle, closes above the previous structural high. That to me is like an indication that price is looking for something. What level is price looking for? Well, like I said, it's first looking for this 85 cents, and I have like pretty strong conviction on that. So like when I see that weekly candle, I'm like, ooh, there's a trade here. How do I get involved? Where do I get involved? I kind of know what I'm targeting. The target is sort of like the most important thing, but where do I get involved is sort of like part two. Like, do I want to be involved? Yes, but where? So I'm looking to kind of see like what is the zone, that gave me this move. Do I have order blocks? Do I have fair value gaps? Like where do these things align, and where can I sort of get an entry? So next thing I do is I come over to the daily chart here, and one of my first principles, like we talked about, like OTE, right? The optimal trade entry. Mm-hmm. This is sort of like this is my range as far as I'm concerned for an entry. So call this like it's, I don't know, people can call this like a dealing range or whatever. But like if my trade is on the basis that this whole zone here, sort of like a weekly order block, gave us this new high. This entire thing should be holding. I guess it's probably more like here. Like if I actually pop over to the weekly and draw the order block, it's this right there. So that, and then like some people like to use the bodies, whatever. I don't know. Do what works for you. But anyway, back on the daily, I'm like, okay, this is kind of the area where I think I want to get involved. We see strong fair value gap coming out of that area, another fair value gap, right? So you know that this zone, there are buyers here. Like, price is coming out of this thing like a rocket. It's clearly reaching for something. So when it comes back in, presumably we're going to be tagging along with like the big money that actually moves the market, and then we're going to ride their trade to liquidity, which is the kind of how we think about this, right? But I want to be entering a trade in the discount of the range, right?
So below the 50%.
Below
level.
the 50% for sure. But ideally in this golden pocket, 0.618, 0.79. So I'm looking like within the golden pocket to see if I see anything. And I see a couple of things here, right? So within the golden pocket, we have this daily fair value gap. I think this is right now like its own sort of draw, right? This is kind of, I think, what's sucking price downward right now. Strongly suspect that price does go below 0.67 because it wants to sort of rebalance this area where there have only been buyers, right? Price doesn't like these kind of inefficiencies, and it frequently, like, eventually comes back to balance them out. So that's a zone I have my eye on. And then this is basically kind of like a 2-day order block. So this is sort of like a smaller zone nested within this larger kind of weekly zone. I'll change the color on it. Let's make it, let's do it that color, right? So this is sort of my next area of intrigue, right? And the other thing that's interesting about this area is that, like, we can also do fibs on the weekly zone itself. So buying below the 50% on the weekly zone, even stronger, right? So now you have this overlap here where you're below the 50% of that weekly order block. You are within this kind of like 2-day order block here. This would put you at around 62.5 and lower. Pretty interesting spot to get in a trade. So like,
with all that lining up, you would have high conviction at like 62.
Yeah, like when price goes into these areas, I set an alert, and then I'm going to be looking at like the 15-minute or like the hourly chart. So if I see a setup on the 15-minute or like ideally like the hourly chart, and it's like a weekly or a daily zone, like if I see a bullish setup, like I can actually have conviction that that bullish setup is going to give me like a sustained move higher because it's happening within the context of like a higher time frame area where I'm already expecting a reversal. Like we can't just look for like bullish flips on the hourly in random zones and just think they're going to just take us higher, because that bullish flip on the hourly may run into like a daily zone above it that pushes it back down. So aligning all these time frames and zones is like really, really critical.
So based on the structure and the setup you just explained, would you set up limit orders now at those levels that you identified, or do you watch the candles come through and then make the trades live?
I think most of the people who are watching this program, like to simplify their lives, like they should just ladder bids. Like I think you should just ladder bids from like 67.1, and you can even ladder them below this low, like at like 55 or so. So if you just ladder from 67 to 55, and again, like if we sweep this, if we run this 55.8 low here, like you want to see like a wick and then price strongly come back above. Like if we run it and then we linger there for a bit,
it might be over.
It could be a bad sign. Like if we go kind of back and we go up, I might be getting out of the trade even though price goes up, because that's a bad sign, because then you're thinking the market tells you like, I don't know, maybe shit's really hitting the fan, and like maybe we actually want to fill this inefficiency down here at like 50 cents. Like these things happen.
Let's not put that into the
crypto.
universe. But what about like on the draw to the upside, the 85 cents? Would you put a limit order to sell already?
It depends if I'm at the desk or not. Like if I'm at the desk, I'm like watching to see what happens, because if I don't see like any sort of bearish order flow happening on the lower time frame, I'm not gonna sell. Like sometimes it just gives you bull candles. It just goes up, 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 and then you feel like a moron if you sell there. But like if I'm like sleeping or something, like you have to have like take profit orders at that level, because sometimes price can hit this level and just absolutely just turbo dump.
Yeah.
And you wake up and you're like, oh God, what have I done? Like I did this like last week or 2 weeks ago, like on Solana. Like I actually accidentally canceled like sell orders at like $1.12 or $1.15, whatever that kind of monthly high was. And like we hit that and just all the way back down, and I round tripped like a huge chunk of that trade for no reason, because I canceled that order and because I was watching it during the day, but then I forgot to put it back up when I was leaving the desk. Like so, all this active management is like a huge bitch, which is why like if you are sort of like a more passive guy, again, like you can kind of look at this weekly chart here. Like we showed you what the setup looks like on the weekly, and again, you're basically focused on this blue candle here. This is a weekly order block. This is where you want to buy, from 69 to 55 or so is kind of that sweet spot zone. And then we kind of zoomed in a little bit more and then showed you that, okay, 67 to 55 or so. Like if you're kind of laddering bids down there, I think that's a good spot. And then if we lose, that 55-cent low, could be a sign of a deeper pullback coming. But even then, like I don't think we're going below like 40. Like I still think like this zone below us holds. And I even though I'm going to take some profits on the perps at 85, like this is kind of one of those trades where like I'm making the trade from a weekly zone, so I'm going to leave like a big runner, because like the weekly zone has the potential to just keep going, versus like you're making a trade from like an hourly zone. You can't like assume that trade is going to turn into a trade you can hold for the whole bull market. But trades you take from weekly lows do sometimes turn into trades you can take from the whole bull market, because during a bull market, like you're not usually breaking weekly structure until the market's over, and then once you do that, you're done.
I really like this chart. I like the way that you explain that. I think you probably remember this, like a couple weeks ago we went a little too into the weeds and there was drawings all over the place. People were getting like spasms watching our charts, and I feel like you did a great job on this one. Kind of like
I still think I'm maybe getting a little too much. I'm trying not to go like all super hardcore trader with people, but like I still think you can get like a ton of value as like a longer term, spot bull market investor just by simply like identifying these weekly, monthly areas and waiting for price to go into them and buying them and just understanding the market structure on those higher time frames. And like this chart looks a lot simpler, when you look at it on a weekly. It looks a lot simpler when you look at it on like a monthly than when you look at it on like the hourly. It's like what do you do?
Yeah,
this gives people a seizure. Especially like a coin like Blur that's not, Blur's not a $30 billion, $100 billion, $200 billion market cap coin. Like it goes all over the place on the lower time frame. It's not something you really want to be staring at the hourly for weekly levels. But yeah, I've still got this. It's still one of my favorite spot buys for the whole bull. So I've still got my spot, and like I said, I've stacked a little bit of perps on top of it. I market closed all of them.
Whoops.
They were in profit. Chart looks kind of weird anyway, so hopefully it doesn't just U-turn here and leave me completely behind. But yeah, like I personally, like even I have just like stacked. I just laddered bids for this one. Like I don't think I'm gonna be sitting there like hyper watching the hourly. And be like, oh, interesting. Like maybe if I'm sitting at my desk and it's there, like maybe I'll do it. The advantage of doing that is like you can sometimes get like really really big size in, because instead of like putting your stop below the weekly zone, you can kind of put your stop below some market structure within that zone, and then you can actually like size up larger.
Yeah.
And like I've had these trades that are like these super tightly entered trades where I'm like I get off like 5 or 10 times the size I might be able to get, like if I'm just doing like a safe kind of like weekly risk management type of thing. So it can be pretty sick if you time it, but it's so bad for your life. It's like horrible for your lifestyle.
And when you ladder those, like let's say you do the limit order style, you're laddering them, and do you increase the quantities as the price gets lower and lower, or do you kind of equally stagger those, like in terms of like unit size?
So I use this sort of like add-on API that has like advanced functionality. So like most exchanges, I don't even know if most exchanges let you ladder stuff, but like Bybit has like a ladder feature where you can just stagger a bunch of bids. But they're sort of like you have to like manually adjust them to change the size, and you can do this actually. But like the software I use, it lets you kind of ladder the bids so that they sort of get like exponentially larger as you go deeper into a zone, and you can kind of do like really interesting things like that because you're sort of sizing up as price gets like more and more into like a deep discount, which is what you want to be doing. So you can do stuff like that. It's a bit of a mind fuck for most people. I love the combination of the market buy, the TWAP, and the limits. Like this is kind of like how I've settled into getting in positions, right? Like so bull market tip that I've talked about a lot. Like if you think you want to be in a coin, just buy the coin. Like if a coin is starting to give you FOMO, just buy it. Like just buy a small amount of it.
25% or something.
Not even 25%. Like 25% is like what I will buy. Well, like, I definitely want to own this, right? There's like, I need to buy this coin. I need to get in. And then there's like this coin's like been driving me crazy. I haven't really looked at it. I don't know if I should buy it, but everybody's buying it. I kind of have FOMO. That's the one I'm talking about. And then just buy a tiny, like maybe 5%, 2%. Like even if it's a tiny amount, it's going to just make you stop going nuts. And then it's going to make you look at the thing and be like, wait, do I still want to own this? Like, do I really want to own this? Is this really where my money is best spent? And instead of just standing on the sideline having like crippling FOMO about everything, This is one of the reasons like trading on exchanges is not like it's so easy, especially if you trade like perps. Like you just click into so many things like so quickly. And if you're doing really tiny sizes, right, you're not going to blow your account sizing like 0.1% of your account on a
right.
On a long. This is not going to happen. So you don't have to worry about that if you're not being a moron. But you can do this on chain too. Like if you just got a bunch of stable coins and you just some coins you want to own, yeah, you can just spot buy them. It's a little worse to do, like on ETH mainnet, because you're paying gas and you're paying Uniswap fees sometimes, which are like 1%.
Yeah.
So that's the downside to this particular strategy. If you're not trading on an exchange, like your transaction costs like kind of can kill you, right? But assuming I do want to be in a position, right? Like I have this like 3-tiered method now, and this is for like longer term stuff. Like if I'm taking like a 5-minute scalp or something, like I don't do this. Like you enter sometimes just market order all in, and then you get out like very quickly. Like this is something I might want to hold for months, right? Like when I decide I want to own something, right, and it's kind of in an okay zone, it's not the ideal zone. I could see it, but it could definitely go higher from there, but probably not. What I'm usually doing is immediately market buying like 15 to 20% of the position, maybe 10 to 20%, immediately in, just so I have some skin in the game, because it could just reverse without me, and then I feel like a moron. And if you get like a trade that just goes up only and you're never in drawdown, but you only have 1/5 size, it's like, all right, it kind of sucks, but you just made money with no drawdown, so whatever, cry about it. So step one is like the market buy, right? Step two, what I'll do now is like I'll actually like TWAP like another 30% of it. So I'll be like, okay, like I just want to like average in over the next, sometimes it's like an hour, sometimes it's like 3 or 4 days, but like I'll kind of like average in, and then you end up with this like initial basis that's kind of like more of like an average of the price, and it's less likely that you buy and then you're totally underwater, because that sucks, right? So then I might be like half sized, and then the rest of the position, like to supplement the TWAP, I'll set limit orders at prices I know are like really good prices, like
all those prices that you identified on the blur chart.
And like a lot of these never get hit if it's a good trade.
Yeah.
Like oftentimes, you're only in with like half size or something. But like I have this combination of like immediately market buying so that I'm in and have something, and then TWAPing in the rest, ideally like below a price. Like I don't want to just, like if it just moons, like I don't want to just keep dollar averaging it, right? I'm just like, all right, it's mooning, right? And then again, like I'm like, okay, like where do I really, like what is a really good zone? Because sometimes you look at the chart and you're just like, there's no way it's going back there. It's just not going back there. And then just something happens, some random news, one wick, boom, hits your zone, and then the price is gone. And like if you don't have that order in there, you're just like, oh my God, I'm a moron. Like I'd already be up 15% on that buy order in like 3 minutes, and like you feel really stupid. So
I like that, the 3-tiered entry.
Yeah, learn to use all those things in tandem. Super, super, super cool. I got one more question here from Poog Lagoon, and then I'll wrap it up here for us. He's asking, are render, Filecoin, Akash things you like for longer term AI coins? Asking for a friend. Yeah, render is a whole like bull market bag for me. Like there's some stuff where I'm like, yeah, I'm just momentum trading this, but like render was like part of the AI thesis. It's just like AI is going to be a thing in crypto. What's the biggest AI coin? At the time it was Render. I think maybe Tau has surpassed it now. I have to double check on that. But I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to buy Render. I want to buy the coin that all the big money is going to buy. Like I want to be able to size it up pretty good and get out of it without having to like worry about liquidity or getting rugged or something. So yeah, I'm probably going to hold that one for the duration. I don't own Fetch because I paper handed it like 8 months ago, like a moron. I think Filecoin is kind of a similar thing. Like that thing's been around for forever, so you could kind of call that like a whole bull market bag and hold it for a while, or you could just think you could perps trade it. Like
I don't own either of them, but I am interested after talking about them today. I'm interested in buying both and holding them through the cycle.
Yeah, and the one caveat I'll say here is like. We always do this thing in bull markets, and this is like my 4th bull market now. So now I feel like I've really achieved like a kind of good state of zen where I am like well anchored in what's happening. There's going to be a time in this bull market, like it might already be now, where we're talking about like crypto AI coins, right? It's a very good chance that we look back on this conversation 3 years from now and we're like, lols.
Yeah,
like,
that was stupid.
What a ridiculous thing. Like, there's going to be so much stuff that is like hyped up and that you feel like you have to buy and that you feel like is like going to be the thing, or like, oh my God, this is it. It's actually decentralized storage is going to be a thing now. We have to buy Filecoin or like all these AI coins. You're going to get caught up in that hype. Like I have no illusions that any of this stuff is ever going to be worth anything other than Bitcoin, Ethereum, and probably Solana. And even Solana, like, I'm not like sitting here like I'm definitely holding any of my Solana bag through the end of this cycle. Like, I think there's a better chance than not that I end up with like a 0 in front of my Solana position at some point. But I'm not going to end up with a 0 on my Bitcoin, and I'm not going to end up with a 0 on my ETH, right? Because I just think those two things are so definitively actually useful projects that have like earned their keep, and they will be here to stay. But like 99.5% of all the stuff we ever talk about on this program in the long run is probably going to be a 0.
Yeah, it's a trade.
And it doesn't mean we can't talk about it. It doesn't mean we can't trade it and own it and like have fun doing it. But like we can't get like attached to like the hype that this stuff is all, because everybody's going to try to make you think that this is the next big thing because everybody's got a bag to dump on you. Maybe not yet, but pretty soon there'll be a lot of bag dumping. People are going to be unloading everything and telling you everything is the best thing since sliced bread, but most of it isn't. And most of you will do so much better just holding like Bitcoin and Ethereum, really, and maybe Solana, and not even like partaking in this at all. But like obviously many of you out there are pretty smart. You are grinders. You can make a ton of money for sure trading altcoins, like if you know what you're doing. But it's such like a siren song, like that just lures people in and destroys them. But the good news for you is that if you are listening to this right now, you are still like very unironically early, and you know, even if you make some mistakes, you're very much swimming with the tide at this point. And like the market is going to bail you out of a lot of bad decisions that you will not get bailed out of at the end of a bull market. So good for us on there. And I will leave you all with one parting thought here. This is from Alex Kruger on Twitter. It's kind of echoing some of the sentiments I've been kind of putting out there for a while. He said, too many people are still focused on downside protection and how this will all end, and the crash, and how expensive things are. We are flying, and rates haven't even started to come down yet. And I totally agree with this. That's why I'm very bullish. I think we're just at the beginning. The rates haven't even started to come down. The election shenanigans haven't even begun. The next president hasn't even begun to deficit spend us into oblivion. I mean, there are just Jerome isn't trying to save his job yet. Like, there's just so many things that are yet to happen. Real estate hasn't mooned. I think it's gonna moon. Everything's like, if people are gonna get richer. Everything's gonna so moon. Many amazing tailwinds. Like, you know, God willing, we don't have like a crappy black swan.
There'll be pullbacks here and there, but I agree with you, and I think that's a nice thought to end with, because that I agree.
All right, cool. Well, good job on me keeping that episode to an hour. Oh, wait a minute. Good thing I like you guys. All right, well, maybe next time we'll do that. I hope you guys got some good info today. Hope you learned some things. Hope you got some trade ideas. I know I got a trade idea, so I can't wait to look into some of the coins you guys suggested for me, and I can't wait to consider your income generating Bitcoin mining call option shenanigans. Maybe I will add some passive income to my life portfolio.
I hope you do, man. Let's pay a mortgage off every month. That's
absolutely
nice.
100% risk free. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank you guys. If you haven't subbed yet, please come over to YouTube, subscribe, watch us on YouTube, watch us on Spotify. You get the video, get to actually see my beautiful lines and squiggles. And if you want to join the Discord, come chat with us at all of us. Links at alfalfapod.com. Alfalfapod being our other podcast, which I'm sure most of you here listen to. But if you don't already, we do that Wednesday nights, and we still talk about a little bit of money, but it's really just like a exploration of all things kind of happening in the world on a funny, philosophical, often shit show kind of level.
Nice
And,
dismount. I was wondering how you were going to describe that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just it's just jazz over here. We're just improving. Anyway, thanks guys. We will see you next week. May all your bags go up in the meantime.
Later,
Good
everyone.
night.